Hey, welcome to Knockers on the Bottom. I'm your host, Jay Mill. Jay Miller, if you like. Just wanted to get into some observations from training camp today. One of the first things that jumped off the screen to me was Trey Lance. He had a much better day today. He had a good day yesterday, but he had a better day today. He looked more decisive in his throws, more of what we've been talking about as far as him getting to the top of his drop, hitting his back foot, letting the ball go. He had several nice completions. One to Tyron Billy Johnson, one to Stevenson. So he looked actually two to Tyron Billy Johnson. There was one where he kind of had to do what he does, which is escape the pocket, break out to his right. You heard the coaches yell 2.3. What that means is this is now above the 2.3 seconds that we normally like our plays to take place. So now you're in the period where it's sort of like a scramble drill. The receivers have finished their routes, and now they're kind of doing their secondary break, and the quarterback has to kind of get a feel for which guys are coming open and where they're going to be and let the ball go. He had a nice completion down the right sideline to Tyron Billy Johnson. There was also a play that was a slant where he had to hit his back foot, let it go on time, no above the 2.3. This is within the 2.3, where he hit Billy Johnson perfectly. He did have an overthrow of Jalen Tolbert to the sideline. It looked like both of them kind of misjudged where the ball was supposed to go. Jalen Tolbert was running to the sideline, but his feet weren't quite in bounds, and Trey Lance didn't quite deliver the ball in bounds as well. His was a little wide outside, but all in all, I actually feel like Trey Lance had one of his better days of camp. So now he's starting to stack his days because yesterday he had a good day. Now today he's had a good day. We're going to want to see him continue that into tomorrow and then continue that into the Raiders game. See if we get a little bit better than what we got last week on Sunday from him against the Rams. Another person that stood out to me, some positively, some negatively, was Tyler Guyton. Now, he was going against Micah Parsons. We all know who Micah Parsons is. We all know how Micah Parsons plays. So we can forgive the rookie for having, some reps where he might have struggled a little bit against Micah Parsons, and he absolutely did. There was a time where Micah Parsons gave him a step to the outside and then a hard rush inside, and he beat him to the play. There was a time where Micah Parsons beat him over the outside shoulder to the play. So there was some times where you could see Tyler Guyton kind of having to figure out the Micah Parsons puzzle. And, honestly, Pro Bowl left tackles in the NFL are still trying to figure out the Micah Parsons puzzle. We see him get double teamed. We see him get triple teamed. We see him get chipped. And there were plays today where Guyton won against Micah Parsons. There was one play in particular where the tight end, Jake Ferguson, chipped Micah Parsons a little bit on the outside to kind of help Guyton get his hands on him. And then Dak went that way with a short pass to Rico Dowdle, and it was complete. So it's not like he's losing every rep, but I did notice a few reps today where Micah got the best of him. Looks like Micah showing him a little bit more of his moves and his tools. The first day when Tyler was out there, Micah was just kind of straight rushing off the edge. He kind of just got into his chest and then just seeing what he can do. He wasn't really giving him speed to power or power to speed. He wasn't really using his hands to slap down Guyton's hands or swim moves or spins, all the things that Micah Parsons is known to use. He didn't quite use that initially. Now he's starting to add a little bit more things to show Tyler Guyton, which I think is pretty good because we all know he's going to be going against Myles Garrett week 1, and that dude's a whole different animal. Another couple of things I noticed in the run game, Rico Dowdle looked a little good. There were a few times where he found some holes and made some nice moves, one in particular to the offense's left, defense's right. Rico Dowdle gets the ball. He has to be patient. He's kind of stretching it out, and then as soon as the hole opens, boom, goes, makes the cut, just a smidge inside, just before they get to the sideline, and then hits the hole hard, and probably would have been about an 8 or 9 yard gain, maybe even more if somebody misses a tackle. Kind of similar thing with Deuce Vaughn. Saw a couple of nice reps from him today to the offense's right, which is the defense's left. So maybe it wasn't Terrence Steele in there. Honestly, the Cowboys are having all sorts of issues at tackle right now, so it's kind of hard to keep track of who's in and who's out. But he went to the right side, found a hole. I don't even know if they would have touched him. I feel like there was someone there to kind of tap him up a little bit, but even that guy looked like he barely got there with one hand. And, I mean, Deuce is tiny. You can bring him down with one hand. We saw that last year. Until we see him this year, I don't know if that's different. I don't know if he's added a little power to his lower body or a little power to his upper body to be able to break arm tackles. But that was one of the bad things with Deuce last year is even if you arm tackled him, I mean, you're 6'4", 240-pound linebacker. Even if you get your arm out there, you're kind of putting Deuce Vaughn on the ground. So it'll be nice to see him get some live action this week against the Raiders. Raiders have some gigantic defensive linemen. Like, they have one dude who's like 378 pounds. So I really would hope that the Cowboys get some reps against some of these guys, and we'll get to see how their running backs are as far as their power game, breaking arm tackles, things like that. As far as Mozzie Smith, he looked okay today. There was a couple of times where I saw him, commanding the double teams, shedding the block, and getting the tackle, or what would have been a tackle. They're not allowed to tackle now, but what would have been a tackle. So he looked pretty good on the inside. Trayvon Diggs, he was in coverage several times today where he was in good position on the wide receiver. They're working him in slowly. They don't want to rush him too far along, considering the type of injury that he's coming back from, but they're just putting a little bit more on his plate each day, so he looks pretty good. Jordan Lewis is looking awesome out of the slot. Saw him have a couple of pass breakups today. There's one where they caught a pass interference, but man, there was no pass interference on that play. He carried that guy across the field and pretty much batted down the ball, almost intercepted it, and then the referee threw the flag. But with the angle I saw, there was nothing there. And that's not to say it wouldn't have been a penalty during the regular season, because we do see that sometimes where we're watching plays and we think, man, there's really not anything there, but the ref still throws the flag. So it was good for him to get that type of work, but he's been all over the place. He's looked great. And as far as some other people that stood out today, I think I talked about Rico Dowdle already, Hunter Lipke already. Oh, so with the offensive line rotation, it did look like Brock Hoffman was getting the bulk of the first team reps today. I know yesterday Cooper Beebe was getting pretty much all the first team reps, or most of the first team reps. Brock Hoffman didn't run into any of the issues that he was running into yesterday as far as the bad snaps, which led to the bad quarterback-running back exchange yesterday. Today, that looked all kind of cleaned up. He definitely looks more of the get-in-the-way blocker. So Cooper Beebe, when he snaps the ball and he gets his hands on you, he's definitely getting pushed in the running game, and he's definitely sitting down on you in the passing game. Brock Hoffman is more of, I'm going to put my body in position to kind of wall you off, which is valuable. I feel like when Cooper Beebe gets more of his power game mixed in with that wall you off game, I mean, he is a rookie, so it is a process, as they like to say. But once he kind of mixes his get in the way of you game with dirt you, which is what he said he likes to do. He likes to dirt people, put them in the dirt. I think we're going to have something there at the offensive line center position. And Cooper Beebe did look good today. He's working with the second team. His snaps were looking good. I think he had one botch snap with Trey Lance, but Trey Lance showed some good awareness and some good concentration, because it was like a little bit of a bad exchange. And as Trey Lance was dropping back, he was kind of bobbling the ball, but he got a hold of it and got a nice completion out of it. So it was nice to see him thinking on his feet. And when the play broke down as far as having trouble handling the snap, he didn't automatically revert to his legs, and he didn't get the ball out late. He still got the ball out on time, and he actually got to the top of his drop and actually made the pass. So that was good to see from Trey Lance. Also, it does look like they're continuing to work Cavante Turpin into all types of different roles. I hope this is not a training camp thing where we see Cavante Turpin getting all these different reps in all these different places and lining up all over the place and using his speed and getting the ball in space. And then when we get to the regular season, we don't see it. So, hoping the Cowboys are working this out, not just for the sake of working it out, but I'm hoping it's something that we see once the regular season comes. Last year, they loaded him up just a little bit more. He was a returner, but they started using him. He averaged 10 yards a carry last year on his plays whenever he got a rushing attempt. It'll be nice to see this year them try to get him the ball maybe 3 to 4 times a game, because you're not going to carve out that much. CeeDee Lamb's going to get about 15 looks a game. Jake Ferguson's going to get about 7 to 8 looks a game. The collection of running backs are probably going to try to get between 18 to 22 touches a game. So you just want to carve out about 3 or 4, and you want to use it very strategically and kind of try to use it when the defense isn't thinking. Get them in there sometimes and don't give them the ball. Just so that they're looking, Cavante Turpin's in the game. He hasn't gotten the ball. We showed him a certain look, and then you can come back with it later on and boom, hit it for a big play. But I did see Cavante Turpin getting involved a lot. Brandon Cooks went to the tent. Word is that it's just a sore knee. It's nothing crazy, but he did have to leave practice with an injury. It also looks like Earl Bostic is also injured. So Tyler Guyton had to take reps with the first team and the second team. We also had to have Josh Ball taking reps at left tackle. I don't know if that's necessarily what we want to see there. Josh Ball, perpetually underachiever here. He didn't look too bad out there, but I think he's pretty much at the end of his rope with the Cowboys. So hopefully some of these other guys get back. They did sign an offensive lineman from the USFL, but it looks like that guy is playing guard, 61. I want to say, I can't quite get his name right now, but it's alliteration. It's a CC. So I'll keep an eye out there. If he starts to make plays, I'll definitely get his name, and we'll definitely talk about him a little bit. Yeah, he looked okay, but nothing to write home about. It looks like they might have to go take a look at a veteran there before the season starts. With Chuma Adoga, looks like he's going to be out, from what I've heard, till about Thanksgiving. So you're going to have Tyler Guyton. You're going to have Awesome Richards. It looks like Bostic is out, but it's probably more of a training camp injury. He'll probably be okay for week 1. But you're going to have to do something there, because if Bostic has to play 20 snaps, we're in trouble. So we don't want to see that too much. But that's all I have for you today. Today's day wasn't as sloppy as yesterday. It looked more crisp. Not quite crisp enough, but for the dog days of training camp, when all these guys are tired, of doing what they're doing every single day and going up against the same people every single day and kind of doing the same repetition, and it's hot and you're dehydrated and you're overworked and underslept. For the most part, it looked like a pretty okay practice. So let's see how they bring it tomorrow. Hopefully they look a little bit better in the Raiders game. I hope to see more of the running game when the Cowboys go against the Raiders, as well as Trey Lance. He has progressed each day, so I am excited to see if he looks better in his second preseason game than he did in his first preseason game. But it might be a little bit of a different play call sheet. I really hope that the Cowboys run a little bit more than they did in the first preseason game, because we have a lot to sort out in the running back room, but also because we're kind of mixing and matching these offensive linemen, it takes a lot of time for the continuity of the offensive line to really get together. Usually, Mike McCarthy says it takes about 5 games. I feel like it takes a little bit longer than that. You should have your same 5 working in training camp, and then, on your first 2 weeks of practice before the regular season, and then you figure about 5 weeks into the regular season. To me, you're talking about 9-10 weeks of the same 5 guys getting the reps together before, you start to feel comfortable. So I hope to see a little bit more continuity as we go forward. Them make a decision on whether it's going to be Brock Hoffman or Cooper Beebe. It looks like the decision has already been made with Tyler Guyton, and just, kind of get this thing going. The running backs have a lot of rhythm that they have to play off of when it comes to the offensive linemen. A lot of times you'll see For example, back in the day, Le'Veon Bell, very patient runner, right? But that's because he worked so long with the Steelers' offensive line. He knew, hey, these guys are probably going to open up this hole maybe a second or two after I get the ball, or 1.2 seconds after I get the ball. So instead of just getting the ball and hitting the hole hard, he would kind of patiently make his way to the line of scrimmage. And then once that hole opened up, boom, he was right through it. So, I'm not saying that's the way our offensive line is going to operate, but I feel like if we can get our starting five down and getting them working together on a daily basis, the running backs will also get a better rhythm for how the offensive line blocks and for how they open up holes, and in turn, that should improve the running game. Now, I do think the fourth running back on this team is not on the roster, so that guy is going to have to come in and probably take some time as well to get the rhythm with the running game. So I would like to see them start that this week and kind of start trying to get those combo blocks up together and get those guys to the second level and get some crackbacks and get some pulls and get some wall offs and some traps, and just give us some good running lanes to get the running backs to showcase what they can do so we can make some better decisions. But that's all I got for you. This has been Knockers on the Bottom. J Miller, if you like. If you like the video, like, subscribe. If there's anything that you want me to cover specifically, put it in the comments below. But until then, like I said, Knockers on the Bottom. J Miller, if you like. Peace.